Hey, welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. I hope you guys are enjoying all of the Q&As, and I'm trying to cut them up and make them into smaller, digestible little bits for you, so there's not so much me just rattling on. Okay, so I thought finally I would take the time to explain, while I do my little coffee break, some of the background, and I think would be kind of cool for you to know, like, how we went about designing our labels. So these are the new labels here on display. We're still kind of deciding what to do with the back. I have some bags that are probably going out with little stories, but you guys kind of know my story already, so I thought, is it worth it for me to go there? It was a lot of work and that went into this label, and it had to be done pretty quickly. Good thing though, working with a designer that I had already worked for with my logo, we built off of that. And so I think that's really key if you've watched any of the logo or designer behind the scenes stuff videos when you're trying to kind of carve out your brand for yourself. And this is all stuff that I'm like, you know, not teaching, but more just like sharing and being like this is what I found to be really helpful. And we've rebranded and started businesses and closed businesses and left businesses and all kinds of stuff throughout the years. So I think this iteration, you know, I have a lot of, not a lot, but like I do have some experience in terms of like launching a brand, a product, and launching it kind of at all levels, you know, like doing it yourself, hiring somebody, but maybe not hiring the best person or not having any base for hiring that person. And even though there are tiers to the quality of work that you can kind of like expect. So I've done that at different tiers as well through the years. So this was probably my most expensive tier yet. And it was really worth it. And one of the things that made it really worth it was not just great design, deliverables, and the final deliverable, the final thing that he was making for me, but it was the connection that I had with this person, his ability to be able to interpret and distill what I was saying or visualizing or having in my head, and being able to really give some real industry advice and consultation along with great design, and not just going like, not just looking at it as one piece of the pie like design. And as I was learning with all of my conversations with my designer, Nathan, it's really, he called it an ecosystem. And so he had helped me develop an ecosystem that I could kind of stick to, because especially when you first start out, it's very all over the place. So you can confuse yourself if you're an all over the place kind of person and not have your ideas kind of come from one solid source, right? So it was incredibly helpful, very soul enriching. And if I can recommend anyone, I would definitely recommend him. But if you're looking for somebody who matches, you want to look for somebody who matches your style, you know. All right. What was this? Mr. Pablo. And I'm so happy some of you guys are being curious enough to try Mr. Pablo, which is our fermentation coffee from Colombia. It's, I think, really exciting. I think I've roasted it to the right level where you can get all of those like wine characteristics that I'm so crazy about. This has been like kind of exposed to the air, and I kind of have it out. So let me do myself a little pour over here, and we'll get to talking about the labels. I'm so tired. We've been really busy. It's basically like wedding season already, so, well, at least it's booking season. I don't know if it's wedding season, but yeah, I'm just finding myself super torn in between the two things that I do. But that's okay. I'm really grateful for any time that I can get, actually. And I'm really grateful that I'm good at one, at least. That way I could do this one and learn this one. We're not going to be super scientific about it. I just need some coffee in the system right now. How many of you swirl, leave it in the comments, or do you use a spoon or whatever to give yourself a nice little flat bed of grounds? I do the swirl. We're still figuring out the back. My designer says you should just leave it blank. I'm leaning towards that anyway. I'll put it up on the screen. I can kind of walk you through it. Basically, what we wanted to do is have this sort of, we wanted more information for sure, and we really wanted to cut down what we absolutely didn't need. You know, we really wanted to be choosy about what we put on the label. I chase flavors, and I think, you know, that's something that I think we want to bring that to the forefront of Black City Coffee's message for sure, amongst, you know, being curious and everything, but to be curious to chase different flavors. So flavors is the first thing. So we were really going kind of like in the opposite of direction of always like kind of shouting out the brand. I mean, the logo's right there. That's great. And it's really big. And so my designer was saying, well, you know, we need to create some space, some distance, and have things kind of breathe, you know, in the space that they occupy here on the bag. So, and this label is not in its final form. This is definitely like its first iteration. It's still going to have this structure, and I think this flow of information for sure, that will always be there, but we're actually looking into an even better printer. Right now, what we are printing these labels on is our industrial laser printer. Still a very expensive printer, like $800, something like that. Maybe it's like $400 now because it's kind of old. But it does this really well. And where we get these labels is a place called onlinelabels.com. And I found that this place is the most cost-effective for me, free shipping. And you can use their designer. Once you have a solid design, you can just upload your design there, and they print them all in sheets. And for me, and the fact that I'm always changing, and I buy really kind of like small quantities of green, and I'm gonna, you know, our menu's gonna change pretty frequently, which is cool for all of you, you know, roaster's choice and stuff. There's always gonna be something, I think, new, you know, or we'll try to for sure. So we start with the name here, and if it's a blend, you'll see what's in the blend. That's new, right? So for Kitty Whiskey, you could see right away it's 50% Indonesia, 50% Ethiopia. That's our new blend recipe. We come up here, we have the logo. And with the logo, we're actually going to do something a little bit special with that a little bit later. So keep that in mind. And so notes were the biggest thing that we wanted to concentrate on. This blend tastes like pomegranate, cherries, and milk chocolate. Cool. We give that a little bit of space. And then here is where I think, you know, Nathan really brought in the sort of like kicker to make us feel different and to have a little bit more ownership over this label was the words of the roaster here. So it's really not common that you get a direct connection with the roaster like you guys purchase from me. You guys talk directly to me, to the roaster, and you guys always have that option. I don't get it often. I think you're more like, have at it, I just support you, which is cool. I love that. But you can tell me your preferences in the notes anytime. You guys got my DM, you guys got my email. Hey Meg, that last roast was a little too much like on the acidic side. Can you send me something a little more mellow? Like, feel free to have that communication with me. I'm totally cool with that. I want to be able to give you whatever it is that you want, okay? And that's the reason why we have this connection. So I really don't want to make you feel like you can't speak to me. Okay, so here is a little bit of what I think about each of these blends. So if you were to read this on the site, or if you were a stranger and you were sharing this to friends and family, they could read here and kind of get a really good idea of what the roaster is saying. So this bold blend is a coffee inspired from Japanese whiskey design, really rich in flavor and sweet in its profile. Cool. So just a little something. And for each bag of coffee, I've written something just a little bit different that I think explains something about the coffee. Next, we have the weight, because that's required. And then you have to say it is whole bean roasted coffee. I have the roast date right there pretty simply. And then if you flip it underneath, Nathan thought of this, which I thought was so clever, is to put our, discover more at Black City Coffee and blackcitycoffee.com. I thought it was so clever. Now, I love this design. And I always thought we were just going to be on black bags. But he actually showed me a really forward-thinking, innovative play on our colors of black and white, because those are our colors. You can tell now that the site is very muted. It's black and white. It's what it is. I've taken out all the color. If there is color, it's within photos, actual photos that either I've taken or my husband has taken that are on the site. And so now we're really kind of refining and distilling down to who we are, using what kind of color palette, what kind of font. That was a big deal too. What looks good in print, what looks good digitally. That was also a discussion. And coming upon this serif font versus sans serif, which is like, I guess, the more modern. I just never thought we would land here. But you know what? It really speaks to, I think, who we are in the core and what I feel, the sort of like pride that I feel within what I'm doing here in coffee, and who I want to represent and who I want to associate with in coffee. This sort of like the regalness and the specialness of coffee, more than it being more like a trend, going back to origin, that sort of thing. I got a little sidetracked, but my designer was saying that, he wanted to do a white bag. That was the innovative, crazy design that he wanted to do. And he also wanted to do something a little bit special. We will do that. I won't share that all, but we are going to be switching it to white bags. So kind of more the feeling of like the website. The website's got a white background, right? So we kind of want to mirror that in the bags, but we've got a lot of black bags to work through. So we're going to do that first. A good structure for blends, a good structure for single origins. Do we have a single origin here? 99. That's a good example. So we have a 99. This is our 99% free, caffeine free. We taste notes of grilled peaches, tangy barbecue sauce, and sweet butter rolls. So this Castillo Katsura varietal is a 99% decaffeinated sugarcane process. Really great depth of flavor for a decaf, I promise. Right, so we named this 99. And I really love naming things. I've already said this time and time again, but I just thought that was so cool, because now even when I'm roasting and I'm at the roaster, I'm making my little notes and I'm pulling different green, and I used to have to be like, what do I call this, 168 fermented Colombia coffee, because I have two Colombians, so I can't name them Colombian. I mean, you could tell by the color or whatever, but I love just like having nicknames for them. And so my nickname for them is now its marketable brand name, I guess. So I like that. It made things simpler for me. Instead of Ethiopia Yirgacheffe, it's 1,000 Hands. So it's made in a weird way, just that back end, that little bit for me, even though it was very purposeful thing to rename these things so that it could be just different, maybe innovative, more another way to market them. To get people to try and be like, I'm curious, like, why do you name it 1,000 Hands? Because I want to generate that conversation with you. Why do you name it 99? Right? So if I didn't tell you it was 99% free of caffeine, would you have guessed it? I wonder. They're not too much of a stretch, but I think they're kind of clever. That's the story behind the labels, links. I know you guys are going to ask for all of the links for, like, where I get them, how I print them, whatever. That's all in the description, okay? So thanks so much for your support. More and more of you are hopping on the Roaster's Choice, which is so cool. That tells me you're just like, I don't care, just send me your coffee. I think that's the biggest love letter to me. So thank you so much for getting on Roaster's Choice. It's a subscription that you can get on every month, and I just send you whatever I feel like every month. So thanks for being the homie, okay? Good things. We'll see you in the next one. Bye. Yum, 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 yum.